Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be joining, watching, streaming, listening right now. Thank you to everyone that's here in person. I am Sara Delansig. This is Keeping It Real Estate. And I'm going to be talking about something that I think is absolutely crucial for real estate, but not just for real estate. So this can apply to any business, anything, really, anything. And I am going to share the topic, but then I'm going to play a video that I think relates to it somehow, but it's also kind of like in another life, I almost was this teacher that I'm going to share this video of because I was very psychology. I'm a psychology major. I wanted to teach psychology. And I ended up in real estate, and here we are. And this is now my passion. But I think it's interesting because it makes a point. And so the topic is how to will your way to win in real estate, but also in everything. But since this is Keeping It Real Estate, we're going to talk about how this applies to actual real estate, right? And don't mind if you see in the background my dogs or my husband, because working from home, and that's what's up today. Didn't feel like going to the office, but here we are. Okay, so while people are still kind of joining and everything like that, I'm going to share this little video. And hopefully we can all learn some good lessons from it. And hopefully I share the right screen, because one time I did this and I shared the wrong screen. Okay, here we go.
Class ends in 15 minutes. Why did you still show up?
Because it's 15 minutes.
15 minutes of knowledge acquisition. Talk about priceless.
Okay, this won't let me rewind it for some reason. Let's see if I... We're going to watch it from the middle, but I'll explain what's happening. This teacher, the school canceled class due to a snowstorm at noon. His class starts at 11:45 a.m. And so he wants to know which students are going to show up to his class. So far, he has had 3 students show up. I'm not sure how big the class is. I'm assuming it's like a normal college class that probably has 50 students or so. But let's just keep watching.
Yes, you did. What's the worst that could happen? I like that perspective. Well, why'd you come today, even though class ends in 14 minutes?
I honestly thought this was something you would do.
I've become too predictable, but they guessed right. That's weird. 4 students out of 21. Not a great showing, but a good lesson.
Okay, so why did I do this? Why didn't I just tell my students that class was canceled? Well, because moments like this, where there's no clear right or wrong answer, those are the moments where we really learn about ourselves. Most of life isn't about following instructions. It is about navigating ambiguity. The way you handle uncertainty, the way you make decisions when the rules aren't obvious, that says a lot about how you'll handle real challenges out in the world. For my class today, there was no correct choice, but how students made their choice, that matters. Did they seek out information? Did they trust their gut? Did they follow what everyone else was doing? Those patterns don't just show up today, they show up everywhere. Even though I'm sure my students were focused on the question, should I come to class? The important question was, how do I make decisions when things aren't clear? And is that the way I want to be making them? That question, by the way, is a question we should all be constantly asking ourselves, regardless of the weather.
So yeah, so that is a video. In another life, I very much would have been that professor and would have loved it, I'm sure. But I thought what he was bringing up was really crucial. Like, he didn't tell his students anything. He just wanted to see what they would do. And in ambiguity, how we respond really matters. And so what we're doing today is going to be somewhat of an exercise, and it's meant to help us build our will, because we need a foundation to be successful, not just in real estate, but in life and everything, okay? You have to be consistent. And the agents that do these things, I mean, they're the ones that are selling most of the real estate, okay? A lot of people don't know how to follow through with their will or make their word their bond or things of that nature. And if we build these things, then we're going to learn how to do these things in a way that helps our business, helps our personal life, and just helps us all around. So let's get into it. And I should mention, you know, that I love to give credit where credit is due. I got this idea from a completely unrelated topic, but it was Ariel, I want to say Gatoga, that is on YouTube. And if you want to look it up, you can hit me up and I can tell you what it is. But that is where a lot of this came from. And so, want to hear it? Here it goes. All right. So the first thing we need to do is build a strong foundation. You can go out and buy like the fanciest guitar, right? And if you don't know how to play a guitar, it's not going to really matter much because you don't know what you're doing, right? Or you could buy the nicest piece of exercise equipment, but if you don't learn how to use it or don't use it, then it's not really going to do you any good, right? Same thing with like if you're a chef or if you want to become a chef and you buy like really fancy knives. My son wanted this knife set that was like over $100. I have no idea why, but anyways, I don't know how to use $100 knife set. So you got to learn these things, right? We have to build a foundation. And so first, what we're going to do is we're going to focus our will with intention and determination. That is funny. I think that's Jen Sells. I think that's who you just said, my poor row machine, LOL. That's funny. Yeah, I know. I don't know how to use a row machine either. Okay, so we're going to focus our will with intention and determination so that we can learn how to follow through. Now, this may seem like a simple task, but I'm telling you, so many agents don't know how to do this. So many people just don't know how to do this, okay? It's like your word is your bond. What you say you're going to do, you're going to do. So we're going to learn how to do this. But first, the first thing that we're going to do is write out a list of everything that you've been putting off. So I was just telling Autumn right before this, I was sick for a little while and I was asked to do this interview for my brokerage and I put it off for a while until I listened to this and then I was like, okay, I'm going to write this out and I'm going to do this exercise and I scheduled it and now I'm having the interview pretty much right after this. So what we want to do is we want to choose tasks that we can complete in less than a day. Okay. It does not need to be some hairy, audacious goal, right? This is something small. I'm giving you my example of scheduling that interview and then following through and doing the interview because the first thing I thought when I heard this, when he said, write down everything you've been putting off, I was like, oh my gosh, that just sounds like so much. Like, oh gosh, I don't want to commit to all that, right? But he said, don't worry, you're not going to have to do all of it. You can if you want to, but it's really about putting the will power and the intention and the determination behind it to actually sit down and write down what you need to do and then choosing 7 of those items for 7 days. So for the next week, this is what we're going to talk about. And well, I mean, today, but for the next week, you're going to want to do this and hopefully it'll help you out. And if you need to take longer than a week, it's fine. And if some of these things you don't finish, it's fine. Don't beat yourself up, but it's really about learning where your willpower level is. Because if you say what you're going to do and you always do it, then this is going to be super easy for you. But if you are one of those people that, says that you're going to maybe do this, maybe do that, or you're like, okay, yeah, I'll go to the movies. And then 10 minutes later, you change your mind. I don't know. This is going to help you learn how to actually put the intention behind it and to do what you're supposed to do. So write out a list of everything you need to accomplish, things that you've been putting off. Don't worry. You don't have to do everything on the list. Each task should be accomplished within 8 hours or less. Obviously, you don't want to be spending a ton of time. So select 7 of the items from your list. I gave you an example of one that I did. Another one was, wiping down baseboards around my house. It doesn't even have to be real estate related. It's not really about the task. It's about what you're doing because you said you would do it. Make sense? Okay. All right. So each day, so you're going to write down everything that you've been putting. Oh, taxes is another one, right? That takes more than a day though. So unfortunately, I have a lot to do with my taxes and I am working on it, but I couldn't put that one down because it would take, for my taxes, it's going to take more than a day. It already has. So anyways, you're going to write all of them down and then you're going to pick 7 and you need to like kind of weigh what makes sense for you as far as the amount of time and all of that. And then you're going to assign one to each day of the week. So today is Wednesday. You could start tomorrow. So you could say tomorrow on Thursday, I'm going to do my laundry. Or tomorrow on Thursday, I'm going to write up the CMA that I've been putting off. Or I don't know, whatever you guys think, right? Or I'm going to use my row machine, right? Something like that, which is exercise is another one. I don't want to get ahead of myself though. Okay. So whatever you decide though, you have to make sure that you say to yourself that you will accomplish it. Okay. This is a crucial part of it. Actually, I'm going to bring something up that I didn't think I would, but last year, all the rage around this time, well, it was like in the beginning of January, it was the Cat Williams interview on on Shannon Sharp's podcast, right? And it was really interesting because I watched a guy, a behavioral therapy, or like somebody that reads like facial expressions and can tell you if somebody's lying or telling the truth, kind of thing, based on their opinion and their expertise, right? And so Cat Williams set up that interview so brilliantly with his words. So words really, really matter. And I say this because the first thing he did was say, you created a platform for us to tell the truth, right, Shannon? And so Shannon then agrees with it. And now, whatever Cat says, he's allowed to tell the truth, his truth. Let's be clear, but still fascinating. Anyways, if you guys ever see this, the guy that did the breakdown, I think his name is Spidey. I don't know. It's a very Vegas name, but he has a channel, and if you hit me up, I can send you the video of it. But you can search YouTube for like, was Cat Williams lying on that? But it's fascinating because the words that he used created the environment for him to accomplish exactly what he wanted to accomplish. And so that's why we are saying ahead of time, I am going to accomplish these tasks, not I would like to try, or maybe I can, or whatever. Now, if you do not, say you just totally space it because you're completely busy. Okay, but the goal is to really say, I'm going to do this. Okay. And that's what puts the power behind it. All right. That's where we're trying to build this base of like following through, being consistent, doing what we say we're going to do. Okay. So that is the first thing. Write it down, pick the 7 things, pick the 7 days, and then check them off. Like, oop, done. Right. Okay. Second, what we want to do is we're going to learn the power of saying yes and no. I cannot stress enough how important this is for especially newbie real estate agents. Newbie real estate agents think that they have to take every single call, every single tour request, respond to every single text. Like, they burn out quickly, and they realize pretty quickly that it also has an impact on their work-life balance, their family. A lot of agents, when they start out real estate this way, they're so excited. They take all the work and then they don't slow down, and then their family suffers, and you see people end up getting, going through some stuff, right? So it's not pretty. So we have to learn the power of our words and how we can say yes or no with confidence. So, let's see. So let's set the intention for the next 7 days to make sure that we mean what we say and say what we mean, right? When it comes to yes or no, especially. So if somebody asks you, hey, do you want to go to the movies? And you really don't want to go to the movies, just say no, thank you. Don't lie about it. Don't lie about it. This is really important, because lying about it is then telling your subconscious that your words aren't your bond. And now you're not going to be able to manifest. I'm just going to say manifest exactly what you want, because it's confusing your own subconscious. If your words aren't really coming to fruition, then your subconscious isn't going to think that if I say, hey, I want to be a million, or I am a millionaire, or I closed 250 deals this year, or whatever you say, that is something that's going to mess you up. So don't lie about it. So just say no, thank you. And then if you really want to go, then say yes, right? Like, it seems simple, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people have a hard time with this. Now, I'm going to add to that, since people have a hard time with this, if you can't say yes or no without having to lie about it or something, don't say anything at all. Stay silent. If that's an easier route to take, right? I know people that, will ask me to do something, and I'd rather just not respond sometimes, because I don't want to get into other things. So just make sure that you say it confidently and that you are comfortable with it, because so many of us don't know how to do this properly. And the clearer you are about what you want, the better you'll be at making decisions quickly, envisioning your future, and working toward your goals. Okay, so this all seems really silly. I get it. You guys are like, oh, really? Just make your yes, and your no, and write a list. It's not about the actual tasks and the actual things. This is about putting intention and action towards things, right? Intention. We have the intention to do it. We say we're going to do it. We're going to follow through and we're going to do it. Okay. So the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to learn how to concentrate and focus for short periods of time. This is also one of those silly things that you're like, oh gosh, Sarah, concentrate and focus. I'm not talking about on work. I'm talking about meditation, mindfulness. I'm talking about just paying attention to something in silence, your breathing, the hands on a clock ticking for 60 seconds, right? Paying attention to one thing for 60 seconds or more, if you can. A lot of people can't do this though. If you can sit and breathe in, breathe out for 60 whole seconds and not have your mind wander, I'm impressed. You must be already meditating or something of that nature. But it's a lot more complicated than you think. And your mind will probably wander, especially if this is the first time that you are doing this. It's okay. As a matter of fact, you may fall asleep. There's so many things that can happen. So try to sit up. That's why people meditate and they sit up in that, I find, uncomfortable position. But eventually, you know why it's uncomfortable? Because otherwise, if you lay down, you'll almost always fall asleep. At least that's my case. So just focus on the way it feels through your nostrils when you breathe in and the way it feels coming out. And try to do that for 60 seconds without getting distracted. Now, if you get distracted, just bring it back and then focus on it again. You could do this by staring at a candle flame, staring at a clock. There's a lot of different ways, but this, I can't stress enough the importance of meditation. So many people should be able to know the benefits of meditation. I could list hundreds, but I won't. And if you want to know them all, you can definitely ask ChatGPT or Google or wherever. Like, honestly, it's one of the greatest things ever. It's not simple to get started, but once you start doing it, you will crave it just like anything, just like what our next thing is. But we're getting a Zillow call. Okay. Someone else on the team can get it. Okay, so yeah, I talked about don't get overwhelmed if your mind starts to wander. Just bring it back to your breath or the clock or the flame or whatever it is that you are focusing on. This should not be on television. Okay, you're like, okay, I'll focus on. No, I'm not talking about television or reading your emails or listening to me right now. This does not count. Okay, it needs to be like set aside time. Actually, put the focus behind it. The intention behind it. And, 60 seconds isn't very long, so you can do this pretty easily. And if you get distracted, it's okay. So, all right. And fourth, set aside some time to exercise. It can be anything. All right. If you would have asked me to do this a year ago, it's not my thing. People will like, go for a walk. Okay, I'm in Seattle. It's rainy. It's not comfortable outside like 9 months out of the year. Like it's cold. I don't know. Like this was not like exercise is not my thing. And I'm not saying that I'm excellent at it now, okay? But I found beginner yoga classes online on YouTube. And by the way, if you guys do any of this stuff on YouTube, I highly recommend the premium version so that you don't have ads, especially if you do like a guided meditation. Also, if you're going to try to meditate for the first time, I recommend a guided meditation. There are so many that are short. You could do 5-minute meditations, you can do 10-minute meditations, but if you have the ads going in the middle of it, it's really unpleasant. So if you don't have the ability to get the premium version of YouTube, then there is also Insight Timer is an app that I use, and you can select it for your own personal beliefs, religious or otherwise. So like when I started it, I have very strong Christian beliefs, and so I wanted most of my meditations to have to do with that. So you can choose that if you want to, or whatever makes sense to you. So Insight Timer is free and it has no ads. It has an upgrade version if you want to, but I haven't ever done that. Okay, dokie. So exercise is going to be not fun at first if you don't do it, but it becomes fun. So I found some yoga stuff that is pretty low key. Plus, I actually found that I felt a lot, obviously, I feel a lot better because sitting in a chair for 6 hours straight and, and then going and laying in my bed and watching TV, it's not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. All right, people. So it's really good to get out. You can do mindfulness walks. I have a dog. I have 2 dogs, but one of them will not go on a leash no matter what I do. So one of them I can take for a walk and the other one I can't. But yeah, it's still rainy and it's still gross, but I've learned to appreciate it. So one of the things that I do is the mindfulness walk, and I'm like paying attention to the way the rain is falling, paying attention to the way that the wind is blowing and the trees, the leaves are changing, and just paying attention to your surroundings and being mindful of it. And that's made it a lot more fun for me. At first, I would listen to podcasts when I would go out so that I would not be, bored or whatever, but that's not the point. The point is to really calm your mind, to get some exercise, to work your body as well as your mind. Okay. So those are the things that we are going to do to build our will in order to have a good foundation, not just for real estate, but in our business. And to recap, the first one is we're going to work on our will list. Okay. You pick 7 things from a list of tasks that you may have been putting off. For anything from responding to an email, to doing your taxes, if you can do it in less than a day, to cleaning your teapot. I don't know, just anything, right? Anything that you need to get done, pick 7, spread them out 1 a day for 7 days. All right. Don't stress if you don't get it done. Totally fine. All right. And don't pick ones that are too big or too inconsequential either. So if you're like, okay, yeah, well, I'll, if it's something that you already do every day, then we're not really pushing ourselves, right? So make sure that it's something new that you've been putting off. And if you don't have 7, well, you probably already have really good willpower or maybe you're just not thinking hard enough. Okay. All right. Number 2 is let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you can't tell the truth and just stay silent, don't let others take advantage of you. So for the next 7 days, commit to, if you can't show that home, to saying no. Commit to, if you do want to do something, say yes. And if you can't do either of those things, then just stay silent. And number 3, spend time learning how to focus and concentrate. This is like my favorite one. It's not easy to start, but it is something that everyone should do. So look up the benefits of meditation. We're talking like lower heart rate, longer lifespan, like just easier. Your brain literally restructures itself when you meditate. There are monks that can like control their body temperature and stuff and freezing cold temp. There's a lot of good stuff to it. So do that. And then last but not least is exercise. So that is all I have. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take a few questions really quick. Otherwise, you know where to find me on all the socials, Sara Delansig. All right. I think everybody's good. Well, peace out, everyone. See you next time.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.